good morning from a surprisingly sunny Snetterton. Now the circuit is still a bit damp from the biblical rainstorms that we've had for the last couple of days, but if the sun continues like this, we should be in for some fast laps today. Now, if you remember last year at Snetterton, it absolutely peed it down all day, so we really didn't get a representation of what the new setup here can do. Now, my previous lap time is this lap time in the corner, and last year I did this lap time with double the power because it was absolutely chucking it down.
It's raining.
So yeah, we've made a lot of changes to the Micra if you've been keeping up with the other videos. Obviously we've made some dramatic suspension changes. I've designed and produced a roll center correction kit and a bump steer correction kit. Unfortunately, completely untested. I mean, today is Sunday and I only got these kits fitted on Friday. But we took it to Adam to get tracked, and from what we could tell from the tracking, everything's honky-dory. The control arms and the steering arms were nice and flat, so I'm hopeful this is going to solve some of the understeer issues we've had with the car. We're still running without the anti-roll bar today, so I'm hoping that with the anti-roll bar removed and the bump steer and roll center correction, hopefully it's going to handle a bit better. I have brought all the bits to turn it back to factory if need be, if I'm not satisfied that the changes I've made are beneficial to the car, but theoretically they should be. So yeah, we are 15 minutes away from our first session of the day. We are not out in the first session, the Hondas are out, so hopefully they're going to create a nice dry line on the circuit for everyone to use in our session. So yeah, we're just finalising bleeding brakes, and then yeah, we're going to go get back out there on the circuit and see how we get on.
And as you can see, it's extremely slippery out there for our first lap at Snetterton this weekend. Now, I've probably already told you, we've made a lot of suspension geometry changes to the Micra in terms of a bump steer correction kit and a roll center correction kit. We've been battling understeer with this car for 2 years now, and you know, I sort of nailed it down to massively knackering the roll and the bump steer, and as you'll see going down here, the steering is just pulling me left to right like an absolute maniac when it comes on to boost. And too long didn't read is that when the circuit dries up, this just doesn't happen, and I think this is the M-Factory ATB diff just sort of favouring one wheel over the other, and that's why it's dramatically pulling the car over to the left or right side of the circuit. And yeah, if you just hear that noise there as we come for the corner, it sounded like something was catching. Now that is going to become more important as this session continues, so let's just skip forward in this session, and then a couple laps later we're starting to pick up the pace a bit, as well as missing gears and doing my best impression of Tokyo Drift around a couple of corners, but managing to sort of keep the steering input nice and keep the car straight. And then I start to notice something in the rearview mirror, especially on the overrun, and yeah, that's quite a lot of blue smoke that's pouring out of the exhaust. And then the next lap, which I completely miss, and I really just sort of noticed this watching this clip back, is that yeah, they do try and tell me that there's a problem by giving me the orange flag, and I miss it this time, and then I'm going to come round and do another lap, and guess what's going to happen this time? You guessed it, I'm going to completely miss it again for the second lap in a row, and there you are, 69 and the meatball flag as they call it. But I'm going to come in this lap because there's a vibrating noise on the right-handers. Yeah, just there, you hear it? That's sort of like vibrating knocking noise, and I'm just worried that we're catching the splitter on the wheel. So yeah, get into the pits, and this is where I get told off by the MSA man.
He's smoking quite a lot.
Oh, I didn't see you getting called in.
Yeah, you've got black and orange flag on.
Oh, right, I've not seen it.
That's alright. You've been past it at least once.
Twice, actually.
Quite a lot, particularly when you go into corners, so I need to have a look. You're smoking now.
We had an engine failure and it dumped a lot of oil into the exhaust. That'll be what it is. We've cleaned it as best as we physically can.
Right, let me just have a look.
So it's at this point they notice a bit of smoke coming out of the bonnet vent as we're sat here stationary, but I'm going to call this a false alarm, because what it turns out to be is the heat blanket on the turbo. Because this is the first time the blanket's got some serious heat into it, obviously it goes through a cycle where it starts to burn off all of the excess oils, bits and bobs from manufacturing, and also handling during installation. So yeah, bonnet goes back on, and then a quick investigation of the left hand front wheel doesn't really sort of indicate what this knocking, rubbing noise could be. So, you know, might as well just go back out and see how we get on, and just try and burn as much of this oil out the exhaust system as possible. So yeah, we're just going to go out back on the circuit. We're going to do a couple laps and get some temperature back into the tyres, and then we're going to do what is going to be our best lap of the session. Just look at the delta. The delta tells you everything you need to know about this pretty impressive lap, if you ask me.
Okay, so that session was absolutely cracking. Second in session behind Dave Ward, and that says something. The geometry changes have definitely changed how the car drives. The cornering now is spot on. I have to admit, maybe a bit too skittish. So I think we're definitely on the right track with the roll sensor correction. We maybe just got to dial a bit of that just out. However, you may hear in the video, obviously I'm not listening to the footage yet, however I am editing as I'm editing this into the video now, a vibration on right hand corners, and what we discovered is, unfortunately, I noticed halfway through the session that we had lost our AFR reading, and that's because this cable had unfortunately wrapped itself around in the CV boot, which in turn pulled the CV boot off, and then the CV ejected all of its CV grease. So we were looking for a new shaft. Obviously we couldn't find one, so what we've managed to do is we've took it apart to inspect it, and the bearings themselves seem absolutely fine. It's just the actual inner cup is got no grease in it. So AJ, the absolute legend, is currently under the car, re-greasing the inner CV cup and putting it back together as we speak. So yeah, we're going to go back out there. But yeah, temperatures on this engine, we didn't go above 75 degrees. I'm hoping I can put some sort of the IC7 Haltech dash in the corner, which should hopefully show you what's happening with the engine as we're going round. But yeah, absolute spot on the brakes, the tyres, love it. It just corners so much better now. Had to dial out the E-Pass a few laps in because on the power it just darts left and right over the circuit, and just made it a bit too much to handle. So yeah, cars going back together. We did a 129 something in that, and then we're going to go out for our second session, which is practice.
Very fast needed.
So here we go, second session of the day, practice. Now the circuit has dried up quite considerably, as you'll see as we exit the pit lane here. And yeah, AJ, the absolute legend, shot underneath the car like a ferret down a rabbit hole, and repacked the inner CV joint with some grease that we got from Taylor. We put the boot back on it, and then we popped the drive shaft back into the gearbox. But what I can tell you now is that, as you'll see as we come round this corner here, unfortunately that grinding noise is still there, and yeah, so at this point I'm pretty sure that the circlip on the end of the inner CV has got a bit weak and it's not holding it in the gearbox. So yeah, I've already been through all this footage of this session, and there is nothing noteworthy to show you. It's pretty much 5 ruined laps until we're able to get our cleanest and fastest lap of this session. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into the fastest lap of this session. Let's go. What an absolute mega lap of 1:23.41. Now that makes the Micra pretty competitive today. That's an absolute cracking time, and we've got so much more potential to extract from this car with the new roll centre and bump steer correction kit. Honestly, the Micra now feels like it corners on rails. I'm so happy that the car just corners, and it just goes to show you that for the last 2 years, well 3 years now, because obviously this is the end of the season, that a lot of the potential has been lost by incorrect suspension geometry. So massively important. So yeah, we're just going to jump straight back into another fastest lap after a little cool down lap here. Now it's not going to beat the fastest lap you've just seen, but it's still a mega lap in comparison. But I'm going to play the rest of this clip in its entirety until something unfortunate happens.
gone?
Hey?
What's gone?
Spun a bearing.
You what?
Spun a bearing.
Spun a bearing? What?
Oh, it's not past steering on today. Spun a bearing. Back forward there, I'm getting like up until that, like a 123 or something.
Yeah, it's good.
You're 4 seconds ahead of me.
4 seconds ahead of me.
4 seconds ahead of him. You're like second overall. That's light.
There's only Wardy and the chap with the Integra above you.
So yes, as you'll see, we had to retire from that session, pull off the circuit somewhere safe, come around Corums there, back onto the main straight. I thought I heard an engine noise, and I dipped the clutch and gave it a quick rev, and yeah, definitely the engine is knocking. So up until that point, we were third fastest in that session. And like we're so much faster than any of the other cars that we've been all year, so the car certainly has pace. So yeah, what's killed it is on the right hand corners we're just losing a bit of oil pressure, but most of the round corners the oil pressure is just dropping out on its arse down to like 0 psi. So that's what's killed it is oil starvation. The times were good enough for P1 today. Andy is like 5 seconds behind. Bear in mind, qualifying is currently going on right now, and obviously I'll explain why in a second. Andy's out there by himself, no pressure, doing 127s, and we were doing a 122, so 5 seconds quicker. So P1 would have been there for us today. Unfortunately, obviously we're not out in qualifying. I've spoken to Simon, the organiser of Time Attack, and I said, what do I need to do to position today, because there's only 3 of us in class today, so technically I would have been an automatic 3rd place, which would have been nice. It's better than nothing. But unfortunately, as the rules go, we need to set a lap time in the final in order to position for the day. So we're skipping qualifying now, and all I've got to go do is to get 1 timed lap in. So I'm going to go out in the final with a hurt engine. We're going to go do the out lap, a lap, and then come in. Again, we're guaranteed 3rd place. We just need a time on that board. So if it's a 5-minute lap, it's a 5-minute lap, and I'm going to try and not get in the way of everyone, because I don't want to be that guy. And hopefully just by babying around in like 4th gear, hopefully he'll survive the 3 laps to get the time in. I mean, at this point the engine's scrap anyway, so we've got nothing to lose. Obviously what I don't want to happen is old Uncle Rodney piercing the sun and then dumping oil on the circuit, because I don't want to be that guy. So yeah, that's all she wrote for today. But yeah, we're going to go out to the final, and yeah, hopefully you're going to laugh at how slow the lap is, but needs must. Let's go. So here we go, this is the final swan song to finish off the 2023 UK Time Attack Championship. And as I've just explained there, in order to qualify for the event, the rules state you need to submit a minimum of 5 timed laps throughout the day, and we've already done that in the first 2 sessions. However, in order to qualify for a finishing position in today's standings, we need to submit a timed lap in the final. So we opted to not go out in qualifying, because it wouldn't really have benefited our overall result of the championship, and to just go out in the final so we can get our podium for the day. So what we're doing here, we need to complete 3 laps essentially. We need to do an out lap from the pits. We then need to complete a full lap of the circuit, and then after we've completed that full timed lap, we can then just enter the pits, and that's us done. So yeah, we're nearly coming back round to the start finish, and yeah, let's watch the Spicy Micra complete the slowest lap of all time around Snetterton, while Uncle Rodney sat there knocking at the door like a Jehovah's Witness.
I think what was also really interesting was seeing Eden Young and Dave Ward having a chat in the paddock. And Dave Ward, who we know, is so quick, always. He came up to Eden and he was like, I did not expect you to be keeping up with me. What's stopping on with us? We've always seen Andy Gray. Like you said, he sealed up that championship. Andy Gray has been so fast. But here at Snetterton, Eden had a new engine, which sadly didn't make it to the end of the round, but until that point, he was quick enough to be going toe-to-toe with Dave Ward. Let's just keep an eye on that story and see whether he's able to make that flying lap, qualifying himself for those points in that limping car. This is the final thing he needs to do this season. Eden Young in the Haltech GizFab K11 Micra, just limping his way through. All he has to do is this one flying lap. Dave Ward, Connor Aldred, and Eden Young, there we go. He puts one flying lap on the leaderboard, 158.7, not particularly quick, but he will take that, and that means that his round was something of a success, and he can head back into the pits pretty happy with himself.
So that concludes all the motorsport activity in this vlog. A very, very short and sweet last session there. Again, we did the out lap, did a lap, then had to do an in lap. And unfortunately, I don't think the GoPro captured any footage in that, so you'll have to listen to the really dodgy Garmin audio. But you'll hear that the knock-in progressively gets worse. But yeah, that has secured our P3 today. So it's a result, not the result that we wanted. You know, with that 122 that we were doing, we would have easily taken them in today, which would have been amazing. But live and learn. You know, I suppose at this point we're just gluten for punishment with this car and engines, especially after building that engine that we just put in a few days ago. But it is what it is. Obviously, we know now we need to fix something to do with oil starvation with the sump, which I've already got an idea of how to fix. But yeah, that's it for this. We'll go do our podium presentations. We'll come back and herringbone the cars for a nice shoot before between me and Ilya. And then, yeah, we'll call that a day.
3 Classic and Retro Championship. In third place, it's Phil Ackerley. In second place, it's Eden Young. In first place, our Classic and Retro champion,
is Andy Gray.
So yes, here we are back at the workshop. Unfortunately, the lighting situation at Snetterton Park was a bit abysmal. I mean, my workshop's no better at the moment, but we are going to work on the lighting situation up here. But yes, day over. We got our third place that we wanted by limping the car around for those 3 heroic laps. And that also allowed me to secure P2 in the championship overall in class. So it was definitely worth going out there. And yes, you know, I mean, the engine was knackered anyway at that point. You know, the rods are probably absolutely destroyed. But at least one of them is. We know that for certain. So, you know, engine's dead. So might as well go out there and get our heroic laps in and get our points in. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that to the point where I got this little car here performing the best it ever has done. The geometry upgrades we've done with the roll center correction and the bump steer correction, you know, it's absolutely transformed how this car drives. It's transformed its cornering ability and its corner speed. The understeer is almost dialed out to a point where it's a bloody quick car. And just sort of looking at other videos of other people's fast laps doing approximately average of 100 mile an hour going around that last corner at Currams, and the Micra keeping up with that same speed really says a lot to how it corners. And if we can sort of do a comparison to how this cornered at Mallory Park at Quick 60 when I took Mark for a spin compared to how it took that last corner at Currams, you know, I'm pretty sure that says, you know, the handling ability of this car is dramatically improved. And to be honest with you, I feel pretty robbed that I only got to experience that for 20-25 minutes today. So I'm keen to get the Micra going again. Now, I dare say the car is retired, but what I mean is it's not going to become the primary focus of Thunderwood Motorsport's endeavour. But I am going to put another engine in it. I'm going to source some new rods. I may even see if we can get a set of Wiseco's on order, because Wiseco do list a piston for this engine, and we will come back in the next year, in the new year, to ready to test it and drive it again, really. But it's not going to be my primary focus in terms of the race car that I'm going to use for competition. That's where this car on the lift above it comes in. We'll do a separate video on that. I'm not going to take this video away from the old spicy mic here, but yes, absolutely over the moon with how this car is performed mostly for the end of the year. You know, 4 engines later, 2 gearboxes later, you know, we are really pushing the envelope here of what you can do with these engines and this chassis. And you can't deny that I have made a cult car here. This car is going to be remembered for donkey's years to come. And yeah, I mean, if the opportunity arises next year, it would be nice to compete in both this new car and this car at the same event. But we should hopefully have some form of announcement to make soon regarding the car above. But yeah, this video is all about the Spicy Micra at Snetterton. So yes, that we secured P2 in Championship, P3 on that particular round. Our lap time in the practice session was enough to take P1 by a good 3 seconds at least. So I'm a bit bummed, but there's no point sulking on the matter. You know, it's happened and we know why it's happened, and all we can do is come back and improve it and prevent it from happening again. So yeah, I'm going to do a separate video just sort of summarising up all the season and the events that we've done with this car, and just sort of some highlights throughout the year. And yeah, obviously I want to thank all the sponsors and all you lot really for following the journey of the car, the old Spicy Micra. And I'm going to do a separate video, a thank you video, which is going to come from the heart, just sort of thanking everyone individually and how they have individually helped the old Spicy Micra become car that it currently is. So yeah, with that being said, I want to thank you for following this journey, but hopefully you're going to follow me on the next journey with the new car, because it's going to be something extremely special, and I'm really excited to share the plans with this car. We have already picked up a couple of sponsors, a couple of minors and a couple of majors, which is really going to help put this car on the map and make it another cool special. Anyway, enough about that car. That's going to be a separate video. So yeah, with that being said, myself and the Spicy Micra wants to thank you, and if you could please help this channel grow by liking the video, sharing the video, just a comment down below to increase engagement on the video. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It costs nothing, it's free. And if you really want to help monetary wise, big or small, you know, we do have a range of Spicy Micra merchandise available. We have got air fresheners, keyring, stickers, t-shirts, hoodies, banners, posters, the lot. It's not expensive, and we don't make a lot of money on those merchandise sales, but it's great to see the Spicy Micra shirt in the public, and when people send me pictures and say, look, I've just seen your Spicy Micra shirt at insert car show here, it really does make me smile. So yeah, thanks for watching, and again, don't forget to tell your nan. We'll see you soon on our next incredible journey.